A common African adage says, a woman without contentment is like a drum that beats itself in the middle of the night. This is the story of Wanjiku. Please grab a seat while I tell you the story of Wanjiku. The small city of Tumaini was alive with sound. Matatus honked as they squeezed through narrow lanes. Hawkers shouted prices of roasted maize, and the smell of chapati and chai drifted through the air. Amid this lively chaos stood a modest but dignified house, Kamal's inheritance from his late father. But years earlier, Kamal and Wanjiku had lived a very different life. Kamal had been a banker in Nairobi, sharp in his suit, respected in his office, admired by colleagues. His salary was generous and his bonuses even more so. Wanjiku, his darling wife, basked in the glow of his success. Every payday, Kamal would surprise her with gifts: a new handbag from the city's boutiques, perfume imported from France, dresses that shimmered under the lights of Nairobi's malls, jewelry, silver chains, delicate earrings, and once a gold bracelet that made her beam with pride. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can bring you more African stories with moral lessons. Back to the story of Wanjiku and Kamal. They dined in restaurants where waiters bowed politely, serving them grilled tilapia and fine wine. On weekends, they drove their cars. Yes, they had to, out to Naivasha, enjoying boat rides on the lake. Neighbors admired them. Friends envied them. Wanjiku often said, I am the luckiest woman alive. Kamau loved her deeply. He believed his wealth was not in money, but in the joy of giving and loving genuinely. He once told her, my love, I work hard, not only for myself, but so you can smile every day, and so that I can take care of our family adequately. And Wanjiku did smile then. But fate is cruel. The bank downsized. Kamal was dismissed. Shockingly, Kamal's father had an outstanding loan with the bank before his passing, and as a result, the bank was preparing to repossess the house. Suddenly, the life Kamal had built crumbled. Kamal paid the bank through his nose and sold all of his wife's gold and other properties. This prevented the bank from taking over the house Kamal's father bequeathed to him. To survive, Kamal sold almost everything: the cars, the electronics, even their fine furnitures. Kamal and his wife Wanjiku moved out of the exotic apartment they lived to the inherited house, which remained as a gift from his father, standing like a stubborn reminder of what they had lost. Kamal searched desperately for work. Months passed. Finally, he accepted a position as a secondary school teacher in Tumaini City. The pay was modest, but it was honest work. He returned home unhappy every day, but grateful to still provide. As for Wanjiku, she never forgave fate. Across the street lived Sharon, Wanjiku's flamboyant new neighbor. Sharon was known for her loud laughter, her bright clothes, and her endless collection of gold jewelry. Every day she wore something new: gold bangles today, a thick chain tomorrow, earrings the next day. Her husband, Otis, was a businessman based in Dubai. He rarely came to Kenya, but when he did, it was always in style, arriving in sleek cars, carrying expensive gifts, and showering Sharon with attention. His visits were rare but dramatic, and the whole neighborhood noticed. From her sitting room window, Wanjiku watched them. Each time Otis arrived, Wanjiku would stare silently, her heart twisting with envy. Sharon's influence grew. She formed an association of wealthy women in the neighborhood, a cycle of wives who wore gold, drove SUVs, and spoke of international trips. They met in Sharon's living room, sipping imported wine and laughing loudly. Wanjiku watched from her window, her heart pounding. She wanted to be part of them. She wanted to sit among them, to wear gold, to laugh like Sharon. Wanjiku would wallow in self-pity and remember the days she used to dazzle in gold necklaces. Sharon could barely keep up with her aesthetics and appearances, and she has no choice than to be on a low haircut. One evening, Wanjiku swallowed her pride and went to Sharon's house. Sharon, she said desperately, please include me in your association. I don't want to be just your neighbor. I want to be your friend. I swear I will do anything. Sharon looked at her with a sly smile. Anything? Wanjiku nodded, her eyes burning with desperation. That evening, Sharon told Wanjiku she's welcome to be her friend. Wanjiku was happy and she said to herself, I will do whatever it takes to dress good again and be seen with wealthy women. Back at home, Wanjiku's bitterness and despise for her husband grew. Kamau, look at yourself, she sneered. Even Sharon's driver, our neighbor, wears better shoes than you. And me, I am stuck in this second-hand dress again. Kamau smiled gently. My love, it is all about time. I am working very hard to regain all that we lost. I just need you to support me and believe in me. But Wanjiku's eyes were fixed on Sharon's glittering life, and she wanted her old life so bad. One morning, as Sharon took her usual morning walk, Wanjiku was on her way to the farmer's market. Sharon approached her and leaned in close. Hey, how are you? And why are you dressed like this? She asked sharply. Before Wanjiku could respond, Sharon quickly added, You know, Otis is traveling to Dubai in 2 weeks' time. Business class flights. You should come. See what real success looks like. Wanjiku got back home from the farmer's market. Wanjiku's heart raced. She lied to Kamau, saying her mother was sick in Kishi town and she needed to go visit her soon. Her mother lived in a very remote town where phone calls were nearly impossible. The network was weak, sometimes non existent. Wanjiku had planned her scheme with Sharon well. She never visited her mother, neither was she sick. Otis and Sharon had prepared Wanjiku's passport and visa. Kamau tried to call, thinking Wanjiku was truly with her mother, but the line never connected. Kamau worried but he trusted Wanjiku. But Wanjiku went to Dubai with Sharon. Sharon improved Wanjiku's appearance, showered her with wigs, chiffon dresses, lipsticks, bags, shoes, and so many other items. The malls were enormous, the perfumes intoxicating, the clothes dazzling. Otis gave her shopping money. She felt like a queen. When she returned after 10 days, Kamal asked about her mother. She simply said, She's better now. Kamal believed her but felt indifferent about her looks. Wanjiku claimed Sharon had given her all the clothes and the wig she was putting on. Kamal was shocked. but he did not want to offend his wife, who had gone for some days, so he decided not to probe or assume further. From her sitting room window, Wanjiku watched again as Otis visited Sharon. This time, Sharon wore a thick gold chain that glistened in the sunlight. Wanjiku clenched her fists. 3 months later, Sharon whispered again, Otis has another meeting in Dubai. Bigger deals. Come with me. Wanjiku lied once more. Again, she said a friend was taking her to the mountain to pray, and the prophet had seen a vision that Kamal is about to get a well-paying job, but they need to pray fervently so their blessings will not be delayed. His heart was uneasy, but Kamal said nothing. The truth was different from what Wanjiku expected. In Dubai, Otis grew distant, making more calls than usual. That night, Wanjiku was given a drink. She woke up to find herself tied to a hospital bed, pain shooting through her body. Wanjiku was then knocked out and her organs were harvested. Wanjiku's lifeless body was then packed away and disposed of. Sharon was furious with Otis. She confronted him, firing accusations his way. You only told me she was going to traffic illicit drugs to Malaysia, she said, shocked and betrayed. To Sharon's horror, she discovered that Otis was not just a drug baron, but deeply involved in organ trafficking. Because of Wanjiku's tragic demise, Sharon was unable to return to Kenya. Back in the city, Kamal waited. Days passed, weeks. Then a call came from the Kenya embassy reporting Wanjiku was dead. Kamal mourned her quietly. People whispered. Some pitied Kamal. Some blamed Wanjiku. But Kamal, staring at her picture, said, You were looking for gold, but all I ever gave you was love. Sharon never returned to the city. She relocated to Nigeria, but fate followed her. Months later, she was caught smuggling drugs in Malaysia and sent to jail. Otis was arrested, his fake businesses exposed, and his double life revealed. Another wife and children in Lagos. Years passed. Kamal healed slowly. He remarried a kind woman from a neighboring city. They lived simply but joyfully in the inherited house from Kamal's father. Eventually, Kamal applied for a scholarship to Sweden. Luck shone upon him, and he traveled abroad with his new family, starting afresh with hope and dignity. The story of Wanjiku teaches us that being satisfied with what you have prevents the tragedy of losing everything to greed. In Africa, we say, the hen who envies the eagle's wings will forget how to lay eggs. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to watch more interesting African stories with great lessons.